Hello and welcome to Thinking Through Research, a podcast by Office of Rankings, Benchmarking and Institutional Transformation. I'm your host Priyanka, and in this series we bring you closer to the ideas, the journey behind the academic research at JGU. In each episode, we speak with our faculty members who will share their journey and their ideas behind their work. Today, we are joined by Professor Mohit Yadav. Thank you so much for joining us, Professor.
Thank you, Priyanka, for having me here.
Dr. Mohit is a professor of Human Resource Management at Jindal Global Business School with a strong background in both academia and industry. He holds a PhD degree from IIT Roorkee and a master's degree from Delhi School of Economics. He has published extensively in international and national journals and publishers and has also presented his work in various national and international conferences. He is not only a reviewer of reputed academic journals but also a recipient of several Best Paper Awards. Thank you once again, Professor, for coming and joining us today. Without any further delay, let's begin by understanding your academic journey. The key moments that shaped your research interest over time.
So I am from Delhi. So my schooling and education is majorly done in Delhi only. I did my BCom honors from Delhi University in marketing and HR. And after that, I've done my master's in human resource and organizational development. So this from Delhi University only. So this course is largely focused upon human resource and organizational development from the very first day. So my academic rigor has come from there only itself, and the research component added by IIT Roorkee. So IIT Roorkee has a unique culture focusing upon research. So the pedigree there is like this, that you automatically become a good researcher in itself. The kind of professors, the kind of peers you have is wonderful, and automatically it takes best out of you. And later on also, I have shifted from one domain to another based upon the requirement of the workplace, the requirement of the academia, and how the culture and workplaces are changing. So we have been blessed. It's not so blessing about the things which are happening the last 2 decades in industry, because we have seen from subprime to COVID, now so many wars are happening. From business point of view, it is not so good. But from an academic point of view, we have seen everything, and there are so many horizons on which we can work upon. So that has given me lot of courage, lot of insights, and lot of opportunities to work and publish well.
Oh, that's amazing. One needs a holistic understanding of your present scenarios, not only what you are studying, but also your surrounding, your scenarios that's happening around you. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, Professor, your publication record is among the highest at the university. What are the central themes of your research? Which of your publications do you think, do you consider most impactful?
The thing is, especially about social science researchers, so we cannot work in isolation, unlike pure sciences. So as the society changes, the things which are moving, the dynamic environment which we are having, we need to move along with them. Otherwise, the research we are doing will become redundant. So when the time are so dynamic, we also need to be dynamic in our research, so that we can match what is expected out of us as an academician, and also what the industry requires from us to do. So I have also in last, it's been like 2 decades now, I've been working in academics, and I have shifted from core HR and OB domain, which I started with my career with, and later on moved to sustainability. Then after that moved to AI, and now a future of work, which is my more focused area is. So during this journey, I have published on majorly started with quantitative papers, focused upon research methodologies. But later on, now from last around 5-6 years, my more focus is upon implications of my research, rather than purely focusing upon the quantitative aspect. So there are so many papers, but I do not measure my rigor of my papers based upon the citations, because citation is something which takes time to happen.
Organically.
Yeah.
Next time.
Because you will publish, you'll start working, then you publish, then it will become indexed on Scopus, then somebody will cite it when they will start their own journey.
True.
And the publication will happen after some time. So it's a long view. In the real time, how can you measure the impact of your publication is how do you collaborate, how do you communicate with the academics and the industry, and how do you take your research in your classrooms.
So, Professor, how do you typically identify the research gaps? I mean, how do you develop them into then meaningful work? I mean,
as I said, that times are changing and social scientists need to really move with time. So, in doing so, and since you are looking at numbers and a lot of collaborators are there, so I need to plan my research. I cannot focus upon one particular topic and try to create, I do not try to create theory out of it. What I look at is the gap between the industry and academics. Okay, unsaid question, unasked questions, unanswered questions, and how can I contribute there? So bridging the gap is my forte rather than creating a niche. Okay. So in that, because there are so many challenges which are happening in every frontier, and like pure sciences, I cannot stick to one topic and dedicate my entire journey to that. So in doing so, I try to look at the gaps, what the industry is expecting from us as an academicians. Okay, because they do not have the time and the bandwidth to research extensively, and this is our forte, that is our responsibility, and we need to bring in to those solutions which the challenges which they are facing in their day-to-day lives.
Professor, if you could walk us through your typical research process, I mean the idea conceptualization to publication.
As I already said, I do not look at the gap in theory, but I look at the gap in the understanding and implications. And in doing so, like most of the scholars, most of the researchers, historically there was an understanding that a scholar or a researcher should know ins and outs of the entire research journey. Because they used to focus purely upon one domain. So if I am doing my research on quantitative aspect, I can understand the entire journey, I can put my rigor in that. But nowadays, the journey of finding the insights, it's really difficult. We need to move from one single method to multiple methods of looking at the same problem. So that has given the rise to mixed method approach. Okay. And in that, you cannot rely totally upon your own insights, your own caliber, because it's unjust to expect a scholar to know everything, all the tools, all the methodologies, and to become master in everything. True. So therefore, I stress upon finding the right collaborators, people who know better than me. I acknowledge that. This acknowledgement should be there, that there are people who can do justice to my research better than me. Okay, and to reach out to them and to provide them with the due credit in timely manner. And this aspect makes a research more meaningful and impactful. And when you plan your paper, when you plan your research, these are the key insights, because if you have some limitation in understanding or understanding of a tool or a methodology, then your research automatically become bounded by rationality. There are some foundations now, because you cannot do everything, you can do only few things. Yeah. Then automatically it becomes limitations. Yeah. So to remove that limitation, you need to reach out to the right people, and the time you put into your research, your question, you also need to put the same kind of rigor and time in reaching out to the right kind of people. Although it is not, till now it was not taken in a good sense, having collaborators, okay, but it's need of the hour, because the tools we are using in research, they are really dynamic. Right, there was a time when the research used to happen, the only tool which we used to know was Excel. That was sufficient when I started my journey. Now there are so many tools which are really fascinating. They can do justice and to research just and provide lot of insights into our understanding, our implications, how we see a problem, and shying away from using those technologies and tools will create basically a lopsided view of yours. So I embrace what is happening. I embrace the people. I embrace the collaborators, and I'm always open. That is one of the reason why you can create both quality and quantity in your research. And that is also one of the key aspect of being a leader in your domain, in your research, because leadership is not limited to being always at the forefront. It's also about taking a step back and acknowledging people who are doing better than you, can do better than you. So you do not need to always be the first author in every research. You can take a step back, let people take lead, and because we are also human being, we also have 24 hours with us. We cannot lead in every research, every project. So let people take lead. Give them their proper dues, and this is how it is done. For me, it has worked.
Professor, if I may ask, how do you maintain consistency and balance research alongside teaching and other responsibilities?
Yes, you need to create dedicated hours, and this consistency automatically will come, because if you are moving from one role as a teacher, and then juggling between different roles, between your family life, personal life, right, within the same hours, right, then you will not be able to focus much. So I dedicate my time, I start my office hours at 10 and dedicate my 4 hours to my research only. Then after that is my personal time, and again I take few hours from my personal life later in the evening to do my focus upon my teaching, what I need to do, how can I imbibe what I have learned in my teaching in my classrooms. Because these dedicated hours, if you are not putting aside, there will be times when there is a huge demand, research or academics or from personal life, right, then you will struggle. And those moments brings in lot of chances of burnout.
Compartmentalization is very important for work-life balance. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
So, Professor, if I come to journals, how do you select the right journals for your research?
It's a really difficult thing, because we write first, then we start looking at journals, right? That is that is one of the problems. We all know that, but we still do that. And the idea is here that the other way around is that you look at the journals first, because every journal is different. And your research may not fit in that, maybe because the kind of literature they are asking, maybe because kind of methodology they are focusing upon, the implication they are looking at, the customers they are serving to. Some journals focus upon one section of the practitioners. Looking at a paper and understanding, looking at it and saying that it's a good quality paper and it will fit in every other journal is not right approach. You need to look at the journal and then find out a few journals beforehand where your research can fit in very well, and design your paper, because there's so many limitations. There is a word limitation is there. Some journals only take mixed methods. Some journals only take papers which are only limited to 5,000 words, and some may take 5 to 10,000 words also. So if you have written a paper which is not fitting organically in a journal, then you are trimming the edges from here and there, and it will automatically will not fit organically.
True.
Okay, so you need to look at the journals, not one but many, so that there are chances. Obviously, it's a hit and trial method. You may pass, you may fail in the very first attempt. There should be some substitute which you can look at. So many journals, and finding the right journal is really difficult, and especially now since there are so many predatory journals around, so it's really difficult. You need to do your homework, you need to talk, you need to explore, There are so many methods, so many ways to look at the consistency, the history of journals, to find out is it predatory or not. Because it becomes really difficult for a publisher, for a researcher, that after dedicating years of hard work, and you have published somewhere, and then you find out that it's a predatory one. So there's a lot of reputation at stake. May not be any fault of yours, but this is how it is happening.
Professor, as we know, there is an ongoing debate between open access journals and subscription based journals. Do you think open access publications tend to receive more citations? I mean, what is your take on credibility of open access journals versus paywalled?
There are multiple views about it. My personal view is that, of course, the citations will happen more because everybody can access it. And this is a huge limitation because every researcher may not have access to all the journals unless and until it is backed by the institution. Every institution may not have the paid access to all the journals. So they need to rely upon open access journals, and automatically open access journals will have more citations. And the question comes that is it fine to publish in open access, or is it not? So every open access journal is not predatory, and that you can see. Even there are huge numbers of like hybrid journals or subscription based journals which have been found predatory. So if you may know, and like Scopus and ABDC and ABS, there's a huge shuffle which happens now and then. Lately only, last month, ABDC, which is the publication standard for business researchers, they have removed around 5 A-star journals and around 24 A category journals from the list, totally thrown out. And most of them were subscription based journals. So predatory journals are not limited to only open access, it can be subscription based also. And nowadays the trend is that every other journal and from all the publishers, they are moving from the subscription based model to hybrid or totally open access. So you will find that top A star or A category journals being open access as well. And every journal other than open access, they are all now hybrid mode. Hybrid means that you can publish in open access method also, and you can publish as a subscription based paper also, and if you have institutional backing. Okay, so are they predatory? No, they are not. Which defines which journal is a predatory one or not is defined by the review process they have. That means, are they doing justice to the review process? Are you getting the inputs from the reviewers? What kind of reviewers they are reaching out to? Okay, is it a single blind or a double blind review? That means it is like the identity of author is known to the reviewer or not. Okay, that is a single blind. If it is known, it's a single blind, otherwise a double blind. Okay, as an author, I do not know who is my reviewers are. As a reviewer, I do not know who my authors are.
True.
That is a double blind golden standard of review. If it is not happening, then it's a predatory one.
Okay.
Okay. And yeah, so this is how it is happening. And Scopus is doing wonders in that because it was not so dynamic, but nowadays it is updating its list of Scopus indexed journals on periodic basis, regular basis. I think it is happening quarterly now. So when they see the journal is moving away from the pattern. What is a pattern? Basically, when you are subscribing, when you are indexing into a Scopus journal, a Scopus list, so then you say that this is how our publication cycle is. I may publish as a journal one issue per year or twice, okay, or maybe quarterly, or maybe continuously also, monthly also. But I need to state it to the Scopus that this is how my publication pattern is.
Okay.
Okay, and any journal which is moving away, deviating away from this, it's a sign that it's been hijacked.
Okay.
It can be predatory. When the number of publication rises dramatically from their normal pattern, that's a sign that something is fishy.
Okay.
So there automatically Scopus get flagged. They put the journal into a lookout list, and if the pattern is still there, they move it to discontinued list.
All right.
So they are doing justice. ABDC is also doing justice with that, and this is how they are keeping the scholars, authors safe from the predatory ones.
Yeah, that's quite.
So there's so many things which are happening, but they are still, yes, the duration between it is indexed and it is getting discontinued. That's a grey time. It's a dangerous red time in which many authors get trapped.
Professor, typically for a paper to move from submission to publication, how much time does it take usually?
So it depends upon what kind of journal you are looking at. Okay, as I said, what level of paper is there? If it's a high quality journal, it may take a lot of time.
As in
And,
approx
2 years maybe,
Oh,
three
okay,
years maybe,
right.
because their focus may be focused upon creating theories, and creating theory, testing the theory may take time. It may take more reviews from different verticals. It may take time. It may take many rounds of reviews. Okay, if you are focused upon practitioners, right, and as I said, it's a really dynamic world, right? If we are practitioners, if the trade or the industry you are looking at as a publisher, you are dedicating it to a industry which is really fast, like IT industry.
Yeah.
They need to provide solutions really fast. So in that kind of journal, the publication will be quite faster. Okay, and it can happen in a really good journal also. So there are some trade journals which are really high in quality, even in A star or A category. They are really fast. But if you are as a publisher, as a journal, your focus is upon theory building, you may take more time. So this is totally dependent upon what kind of research you are doing as a researcher.
Okay.
So usually, you can see a paper getting published anywhere between from submission to publication. Minimum, it will take 6 months.
Okay.
It may take years.
All right, all right.
Yeah.
Professor, in particular, have you faced any typical challenge that you want to tell our viewers? I mean, during your publishing journey?
Especially when you are starting anew. So you do not have that bandwidth. You do not have those many papers in your pipeline. They are limited work you are doing. So in that time, when you get some rejection and you are doing nothing, so there may be a time there's a like pin drop silence in what you are doing, right? That is really killing a researcher. That what am I doing with my time? I'm wasting it. So in creating this pipeline may take time.
Okay.
It may not happen overnight. It takes years and years, right? Meeting the right people whom you can trust. And in the initial days, it's a really lonely journey for a researcher when you're just out of your PhD. So those moments, those time for the first 3-4 years out, just after my PhD, I was not publishing much. I was not doing much. And there were many rejections because my understanding was limited. What the journals were asking was different. I was not able to understand it. It takes time. It takes practice. It takes collaboration. And then you should be open to seeking help. That reaching out to the right people who are doing good in your line of work, the domain you are working upon. Reaching to them, and they are really nice people. Academicians are really nice. If you ask them nicely, they are happy to help. So asking the right kind of people, right question is really important. It may help you to bridge the gap, the difficult times, and there are so many ways now you can do so. Like when you go to Scopus, Scopus has just introduced this author discovery tab, which is there on the very front page. And in that you can find the people in your area, your vicinity, not limited to, like, you're not looking at globally. If you want to reach out personally, you can look at India, and you can put in your line of work, the terms, the keywords, and it will give automatically give you the name of the researcher who are doing really well based upon the ranking, based upon the citation, based upon the number of publication. Right, automatically it can tell you whom you can reach out. So it's really easy now. It was difficult a time ago. Now it is really easy with so many tools which are there, powered by AI, and it's really easy now. So again, coming back to this, that it's a really difficult journey for everybody. Okay, some will cover this journey, difficult time a bit faster. Some may take longer time, but the thing is that you need to be persistent in your effort and time dedication.
Professor, now coming to impact and real world relevance, how does your research contribute to policy or real world impact?
If I look at the themes in my research, so there are some papers which are dedicated to HR and OB domain, which talks about employee well-being, employee engagement, right? And then from that, which talks about how sensitization at the workplaces. So there are some journals which are dedicated to that, like Journal of Manpower's publication is there. And there are some journals which totally focus upon the well-being part, employee engagement part. I have publications in those journals as well. Then the second theme was on sustainability, and related to that I published in Journal of Cleaner Production, which was once a time, like a decade ago, not decade ago, 3-4 years ago, it was like one of the top journal to be publishing about sustainability. So I have few publications there in that journal as well. Lately, my focus is upon future of work and AI integration. So lately I published some papers. In one is in the GIFT journal, which is an A category journal. Another one is in employee relations, where I talked about impact of discontinuity in the turbulence in the workplaces and use of AI, how it is impacting and creating turbulence. How can you handle as a manager, as a supervisor, or as a leader? How can you tackle that? The themes are changing. You need to find the right journals, right mix, and which can impact different levels of like readers. So I've also worked upon education a lot, impact of leadership in education, impact of AI in education, and there are some journals which are focused upon that as well. So you can find it on my Scopus ID. Whichever frontiers are there, which creates an sensitization in my mind, I try to work upon that. And since we are working in academics, one of my key readers or like the key benefiters are the students, and I should and I do bring what I am learning from my research, the outcomes which I am getting on from my research to my classrooms. Because if you are making your students aware about the implications or managerial learnings from your research output, it is getting imbibed in their philosophy, their understanding, and tomorrow when they'll start working, they'll bring that understanding to the workplace as well. On regular basis, I talk to the industry also, practitioners also, and I was fortunate enough that so many colleagues, so many my classmates have been working at a really good positions across disciplines. So I talk to them regularly, I take input from them, I give my contribution, I talk about my contribution with them, so that I can take input from that, what is happening in the industry, and if there's a gap, I can work upon that. And what I getting out of my research, I try to communicate to them as well. So it may not happen organically sometime. For some people, it will take time to create that impact, maybe in terms of citations, right? But this is how you can create societal impact, by talking about it. When you go and meet people, to your students, to your colleagues, okay, to practitioners, when you go to conferences, when you go to meetings, you are bringing your outputs, you are bringing your research with you. So how do you basically introduce, how can you transform, and how can you transfer that knowledge? You don't need to use always jargons which you are using in your research. You can create it, you can create the package in really simple terms, simple words, meaningful words, and which are easy to understand to everybody, and then you can transfer it. So you don't need to always use jargons and terminologies which are put in the journals. That is for academics, that is for citation. But the ground level impact can only be also be communicated in simple words.
Professor, to early career researchers who are aiming to publish regularly, what sort of advice would you love to give them?
Publishing regularly depends what you are looking at regularly. Here I want to talk about one important input about institution. So it has been said that this research is a lonely journey, and many places take research as in something which is like intrapersonal, which is individual in nature. But since you have been working at a place and you owe a lot to it, so there are some institutional requirement also which you need to imbibe in your output as well. So if you are growing as a researcher, it is because the institution is letting you, it is creating the environment, right? And you owe it to them as well, that if they are aspiring to do or achieve something, maybe in terms of it is helping them in terms of rankings, it is impact to reaching out to the right audience, okay, right stakeholders. Stakeholders can be students, it can be the government, it can be the society, right? So you owe it to them and you need to work in that direction also. So this regularly thing, it depends upon your individual and institutional requirement also. I may not say, and like that everybody need to publish 30-40 papers in a year, okay. It depends upon, you need to create a pipeline basically. There are some ambitious projects which may take years of yours, which will take slow growth, which will have a slow impact, and you will reach there automatically after certain years. Then there are some mid-term goals which you should create for yourself, and there are some like real-time current targets as well. So what kind of output you are looking at, that depends also. There are some outputs which can be really fast, like conferences, chapters, where you can talk about your concept you are creating, right? It does not need to be really fancy in terms of methodology and rigor. You can talk about the idea itself in conferences where you can take inputs. Some part of your output should be dedicated to seminars, conferences, chapters, and you should take input from them, what people are saying, what readers are saying, and take that input to your mid-term and long-term goals. So in that kind of balance, you are also creating the number of papers, number of outputs, and also maintaining the quality along with that. So you don't always need to work upon long-term views that which will take many years, because as I said, that is possible in pure sciences. That is not practical in social sciences. Social sciences is working, trying to solve societal problems. Societal problems are changing every year. We were struggling with COVID, now it is generative AI, tomorrow it will be agentic AI, right? So it's changing rapidly, and you are still hooked to something which has happened 10 years or 20 years back, trying to solve that problem. It's not justice to what we are doing as a researcher.
Professor, according to you, what practices should an institution adopt to build a more strong research culture?
Creating a research culture is a long-term whole. It takes a lot of time, and it takes understanding at the institutional level that it may take a lot of time. It may take a lot of resources. Only few institutions are ready to imbibe and to invest in that kind of culture. It may take time from the introduction to actually getting the result out of it. And in that duration, it will take a lot of time and energy. There will be pauses also. So the institution should provide, first of all, the right kind of databases and support, infrastructural support to the academics. And also important thing is the time. That means the faculty members, the researchers should get time to do the research. That means they are getting time off from academics, teaching or administrative roles. So that time, if it is not there, and asking the faculty members to publish is really difficult. I've been blessed, I've been here from last 8 years at JGU, and this is all possible because of JGU's culture and vision and support at all levels. They have created the right kind of environment, research environment, given all sorts of support also. They give the access to the different podiums to talk about your research. That means you can avail the SDF and you can talk about your research in conferences. You can also, if you want to take certain courses to increase your understanding, improve your understanding about the research. And on top of what it gives lot of time in which because research is it's not something which you can rush to. It should happen organically. I cannot just switch to one mode to another mode, and JGU has the right kind of culture, right kind of mix, support also to support the family, faculty members, and in the long run I see that it will have a really great impact on society as well as academics.
Professor, my last question to you. If you could define good research in one line, what that would be?
It should be theoretically sound, methodologically robust, and should be practical oriented. That means, and I want to add here that which I've learned from my supervisor. My supervisor said that in a research paper, the only contribution of a researcher is the implication part. All the other thing can be automated. You can create literature review automatically with many tools. You can create data analysis with tools. The only thing is your understanding. How do you interpret the results? That may vary from individual to individual. Your understanding, your orientation, your point of view should be reflected upon the implication. Okay, that makes one researcher different from another one. Contribution, the implication should be directly transferable to the right kind of readers and customers. Okay, that is the most important contribution you can have.
Thank you so much, Professor, for sharing your experiences and journeys with us. It was really insightful, and I hope our listeners also gained a lot of insights from this conversation.
Thank you.
I thank you all our listeners for tuning into Thinking Through Research. Stay connected with us as we bring you conversations that will make research more accessible and impactful. Until next time.